Welcome to the second episode of That Portuguese Knitter. My name is Eunice, I'm your host. I am connecting from the north of Portugal to share a little bit of my journey into knitting, my handmade life and everything in between. I just wanted to say in the first place that I'm very happy for your welcoming comments on my first episode. I think this knitting community online is a very welcoming one. I'm a not native English native speaker. I'm Portuguese, so because of that, sometimes that gets into the way. I feel that despite working every day in English, knitting jargon is a little bit different. And actually, I got a little bit self-conscious about filming myself, so that also went in the way. So I guess with time, I will feel a little bit more comfortable about speaking to a camera, actually. The second thing I wanted to say is that in my last episode, I just filmed it on a whim one day. I got the time and I was thinking about it for a few weeks, and then I decided to film it. I used my phone, I'm using my phone again. I tried to use my DSLR camera, but the settings are a little bit overwhelming regarding video, so I wasn't getting the perfect shot because I don't have the lenses for that. So I did it because I have a little microphone which could improve the sound of the videos, but in the end I will stick to my phone, at least for now, and then we'll see what happens because I might be improving the sound while using my phone. So yeah, I just ask for your comprehension and I will try to improve it from now on. The other thing I wanted to say is that I wanted you to know me a little bit over time, and I work full-time. I am a mom of a toddler right now, and I don't get that many time to knit and to do my hobbies. So because of that, I won't be having too many finished projects to show you because I'm not able to knit that a lot in between podcasts. So I will try to complement my content with other interesting things. But yeah, I just wanted to know that I am a slow knitter. I'm a slow knitter because I don't knit fast, which makes sense. But also, I don't get the time, and in addition I'm very conscious about what I am adding to my wardrobe. I am a slow fashion addict, so I think that I should apply it to knitting. Of course, knitting is also a hobby for me, so I should enjoy it, and I will allow myself to knit a little bit more than I need to, but in the end, I want to be conscious about the amount of things I do. So yeah, knit as much as I believe it's the most suitable to me. For now, let's start the knitting content of the podcast by sharing with you what I'm wearing. And so, as you saw in my first podcast, I had knitted this Sailor Swift top by Kika, which is a racerback top, as you can see. I hope you can see. And it has a simple construction. It starts at the shoulders. You knit the shoulders, then you join on the neck. You also knit the back, and then you join, after you reach the armholes, you join in the round for the body, and you just knit until you're ribbing at the bottom. It has these I-cards in the armholes and in the neck that I really enjoy, and I think this pattern is a very sophisticated one. I think you could, you know, find a top like this in another store. I like it very much. Because of that, I was a little bit worried while knitting it, because I was thinking that the yarn that I was using, which is the Pure Silk by Knitting for Olive in 2 colors. The stripes are, I guess, Dusty Honey, and the main color is white, cream white or something like that. And I was feeling that the yarn was a little bit harsh on my hands, so I was wondering how soft it would be on my skin. But I have no complaints. After the blocking, it's such a breathable one. We're having lots of heat waves here, but I've been able to wear it even during those heat waves, which is very nice. So yes, huge success for my Sailor Swift top. Now into my finished projects. As I said on the last episode, I was just finishing my Sophie hood. Which is here. I was just finishing. I think at the time I just had to change the 2 parts of the hood because they were still separated, but the project was out of my needles already. So the only thing I had to do was to matter stitch the 2 parts of the hood. And in the beginning I was thinking that it will be a little bit challenging to get a neat result, because of the color of the yarn, because it is a dark color, and the mohair. So, but in the end, the work is just very easy to do. So I'm very happy with the results. The yarn I use for this project is the Gilead by the Redder Natura in the color Tempet, and it is a worsted weight, which is the gauge that is recommended by the pattern. But I just wanted to add a mohair. You can see a little bit about my motivations about that in my first episode. And because I added a mohair, I had to go up on a needle size to get the fabric I wanted, to a 6mm needles. And because of that, the final project is about 10% bigger after blocking. But it is a hood, I'm not concerned. I'm very happy with the result. I can show you. I'm thinking about wearing it over my shoulders like that, maybe with a knot, and not wrap it around my neck. So I will just have to grab the hood when I wanted to wear. This will be probably my most frequent way to wear it. I think it suits my complexion as well, the goal that I had in mind with this project. So yeah, the pattern is very easy to follow. It's a petite knit pattern, which means it's very clear and very understandable. So yeah, I think I don't have nothing to say about it, rather than because the front and back of the project are similar because of the garter stitch. At one point I was getting, you only do the decreases and increases in one of the sides, so I was getting very confused about which was my right side or my wrong side, because I get distracted while knitting. So I added a stitch marker, which is a thing I should do more often. I don't use stitch markers as well as I could. So yeah, for now I'm not wearing this at this time because it's very hot at the time. But yeah, for now I'm just rolling it in a little croissant, as you do with any Sophie pattern by Petite Knit. So I'm very happy with it. So yeah, after I finished my Sophie hood, I had this yarn that I showed you in the last episode that I grabbed at my first yarn festival, which is the Sweet Viscose by My Knitted Closet. It's at 100% sugarcane, which I was very interested in, and with this beautiful color, which it is called a navy blue, but it's not your regular navy blue. It's much lighter than a navy blue, and it has this grayish undertone, I guess. So it's very, very beautiful, and it's very slippery. And because of that, I ended up using my wooden needles instead of my metal ones in the project. And yeah, I already have the finished project, so I'm sorry for not having this as a whips for you to see and see my progress, but I was able to do it between podcasts, so I won't stop it just for the podcast's sake. So this is my finished result. I hope you can see it. I don't know if you can see the pattern very well. I hope you do. Yeah, it is a very nice, maybe like this because the light is going through the sides. Yeah. So I like the pattern very, very much. I love Gregory Fiber's patterns because she has these vintage old traces in her designs, which is very nice. But she also had contemporary techniques and contemporary fits, so that makes the whole project very, very nice to knit and very nice to wear. I just finished this and finished block it. It's just right out of my blocking mat, so I just didn't wear it. So, but I guess the fit will be very nice. The measurements were on spot, so we'll see. But I must say, I ended up having one or two struggles with this pattern, and the first one I ended up having was during the cast on, which is, well, a very early stage to get problem, but oh well. So the pattern asked, it is a bottom-up pattern, which means you have to cast on your ribbing in the bottom of your top, and it asked for a 2x2 Italian cast on, which in the end I understood it is a pain to do, but I didn't know at the time, and sometimes I don't want to be influenced for what I hear from other knitters. I just want to try it and then see if it is hard or not for me. And this time it was, because it is not easy to do. Also with the small needles and a slippery yarn, it's so hard. It's very frustrating. I got very frustrated along the way. I tried so many times. I hated this process. And yeah, of course I reached for help on YouTube. Actually, the pattern suggests a tutorial on YouTube, but let me say you, it's not the best. The best one for the 2x2 Italian rib cast on, or 2x2 rib Italian cast on, is by Nimble Needles, and I will link it down below so you can see it. But in the end, whenever I tried to do, I got into a different error or mistake. I guess I did all the mistake portfolio that you can do in a cast on. And when I finally did it, I of course twisted my project in the wrong, which was so painful. So yeah, in the end I was so tired about it, and I just searched for an alternative, which is a very, very brave thing to me, because I just want to follow the pattern exactly like the designers design it, because I don't understand anything about this. So, but she might have done her choices very wisely. So if she chooses this custom, I shouldn't ask why. But in the end, I was over it. So I searched for an alternative, and the best alternative that I found for this is the alternating cable cast on, or alternating yarn cast on. I saw the two names being used for the same thing, so I will also link down below the video that I used as a tutorial. And yeah, I believe it is as stretchy, as invisible as the 2x2 rib Italian cast on. It also starts with a 1x1 rib and changes it to a 2x2 rib, just the Italian cast on does. So yeah, after that the project flew by and everything went well. The pattern itself, the repeats of the pattern are very easy to do. You just don't have to count rows, because when you do the first repetition, it is so easy to remember. You don't have to count rows after that. So yeah, it is very easy to do. You just knit from the bottom until you reach the armholes, and then you separate the front and the back by decreasing some stitches in the armholes. And the front and the back are exactly the same, no shaping, no whatsoever, but it ends with this ribbing on the neck, which gives us a boat neckline, which is very beautiful. And this is where I had my second and final struggle, which was in the bind off. Because it's not a struggle itself, it's that I was confused, so I chose an alternative for the bind off, because I was very brave with the cast on, so I might as well be brave in the bind off too. So the bind off, you have to knit 12 stitches and leave them live in the cable. You bind off this neck part and you knit and leave it live more stitches. I believe it is 12 stitches, but yeah, and you put them on a cable too. The thing about this bind off, it is that it is a Italian or tubular bind off, which meant it is a sewn bind off, and to do that you have to knit those stitches, cut your yarn, leaving a long tail to do the bind off. You do the bind off, and then you have to join your yarn again just to knit 12 stitches, and then you cut your yarn again, and that doesn't make any sense in my head. So I decided to go for an alternative, and my alternative was the Icelandic bind off, which creates also a tubular bind off. It's not as invisible as the Italian bind off, but it's very decorative. It's also elastic, and yeah, and the great advantage is that it is not a sewn bind off, which meant I was able to knit my 12 stitches, leave them live, then don't cut my yarn, just do the bind off until I reach the 12 stitches for the other shoulder, and I don't have to join my yarn again because I didn't cut it anyway, and then knit the 12 stitches and just cut my yarn in the end of the row. So I was very happy with my results, and the last part that you have to do is to bind off while sewing together these live stitches when you join for the shoulders. I did it with the recommended technique, which is the third needle bind off, which is very interesting. It was a little bit challenging with the twisted rib, but it is okay in the end. So after that, I just had to add the ribbing for the armholes, and yeah, I finished my project. I liked the yarn very much. In the beginning, I was thinking that it was getting a little bit small, but I was warned that these kind of yarns stretch a little bit after blocking, which my swatch did. So I trust the process, and in the end I think it will be very nice. I will wear it so you can see. I'll have a cutaway or a photograph for you to see the final product. So those were my finished projects, and it is a lot for what I usually can do. So yeah, I'm very happy about them. Going into my whips, well, I have to also talk about acquisitions because to start my current whip, I had to order some yarn. And well, I said in the last podcast that I was not knitting any more summer knits. So I lied, I guess, because I'm starting one. It is a small whip at the moment, but I will explain why. In the last knitting club that I went to, my colleague has just finished her love letter top, also by Kutaba Kika, and I loved it. I had that project in my favorites in Ravelry for a long time. I was thinking about knitting it next summer, but then I saw it and she pushed me into casting yarn, and I did. So I'm using leftovers from this top. So leftovers from knitted farrell with pure silk in the color cream, but I didn't have enough. I just had about half the yarn I needed, so I had to acquire a little more, and I'm just because the pure silk you have to hold two yarns together, and I'm just holding two different dye lots together so I don't get into color problems during my project. So yeah, it is one of the recommended yarns, but you have to hold two yarns together for the pure silk. I made my swatch and I met the gauge that was suggested by the designer. This is a 6-stitch swatch because it's one of the parts of the project. This project is a top very similar to this one in fitting. Of course, the construction is a little bit different. This is an all lace top, and so yeah, this is a little bit of what I have done until now. It's a small whip right now, and yeah, I'm liking the process very much. I guess it's a little bit small at this time. I know this type of projects grow a little bit in the end after blocking, so I'm again trusting the process. But then we'll see. I'm using the pure silk L double with the 3mm needles, but I think there's an I-cord in the armholes and in the neck, just like this top. And I guess we're using another needle size. So yeah, so maybe I just don't want to commit to that, but this will be almost 100% my last summer knit for this year. I'm liking it very much. It's very fun to work with because everything is changing almost every row. So yeah. Other acquisitions that I've made are already thinking about my fall winter knitting plans. So I'm slowly grabbing some yarn for those projects because I don't have a huge stash. I almost only have the stash for my next project, maybe 2 or 3. But because I have a plan this year, I have to be organized, and I'm buying the yarn slowly, which is a more sustainable and more financially a wise thing to do. So I started doing that. I just grabbed some few skeins of Issachar Jensen yarn in the color 0. This is 100% new wool, and it has 100 grams, which is about 250 meters. It is made in Denmark. I think it's a very well-known yarn slash brand. So I bought 4 skeins of that to make a sweater, and I will pair it with the silk mohair. It's the matching one from the same brand, and I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls of this. I won't be sharing too much about this because I'm planning to do a podcast episode about my knitting plans for fall and winter. And so I'm revealing a little bit of what I will do with this yarn and others that I'm starting to order in the end of this month. So yeah, I hope you can join us to see what I'm doing. I'm very excited about those plans because I never have plans like this, and it feels very organized but also conscious about what I really need in my wardrobe. So it feels nice to have those plans out, and I think it will be loving it because I have a little bit of fun things planned. So yeah, regarding knitting, I also have another acquisition that I've done after my last podcast, just after my last podcast. I bought this book, which is called Knitting Without Tears by Elizabeth Zimmerman. I hope you can see it right. I bought this book just because I was thinking that I should be studying a little bit more about construction, because sometimes I don't understand very well the choices behind the patterns. So I needed to make myself a little bit more knowledgeable about the frequent techniques and main constructions. I would love to design my own sweater and do it by myself without using a pattern, and I'm not able to do it right now. So yeah, those type of things I'm not literate about them. So I decided to purchase this book because it was very well recommended, and I have to say I'm really loving it. I'm about maybe 2/3. Yeah, I just finished the sweaters part. I'm just about here. So the book is it has a first part that it explains the main techniques, and then in maybe halfway you started to have patterns, and in the beginning I was a little bit disappointed with that because maybe halfway of the book you started to have patterns. I was a little bit underwhelmed by that because I thought this book, it was all about knitting techniques. Why are the patterns inside the book? I don't understand. But then I started to read them slowly, and you can see this is a very shoddy way of talking and explaining a pattern. And this opened my eyes because the author, Elizabeth Zimmerman, is just explaining the pattern as she was talking to me, and she does it in a very funny way, first and foremost, but this whole conversation type of explanation allowed me to better understand every single choice she made for this specific pattern. It's just very enlightening for someone like me that doesn't know everything about it. So yeah, in the end, I'm liking it very much. I went through all the sweater parts, all different patterns of the sweaters that she explains, several shoulders constructions, a raglan, there's a yoke sweater, a round yoke, saddle shoulders, and it goes on. Now I'm just going into other knitting patterns like hats and mittens and socks. I'm very interested about the sock part. So yeah, I'm loving it, so I recommend it. It is very recommended for a reason. So yeah, this is my last acquisition, and I think I'm going to talk a little bit about my English paper piecing project I was talking about in the last episode. Yeah, so this is it. In the last episode, I was just cutting my templates, my paper templates, and now I was able to cut all my fabric pieces and busting them into my paper. I don't know if you can see. And busting them into my paper templates. I've done this for all the templates that I have. I think I must have to cut more, but for now I'm just joining those. And I'm starting to sew them together. I didn't start on that yet, but I will start very soon. And I wanted to explain it a little bit more because this purchase is a very special one. I don't have a deadline for it. I just wanted to make it through the years. So when I was little, my grandmother handmade and embroidered this bed linen set for my dolls, which has this cute embroidery, and it also has a matching pillowcase. Yeah, and of course the bottom sheet it's not embroidered, so it's just, you know, a blank one. And she did this when I was about 2 or 3 years old, and then when I was about 8, she also knitted this blanket. Isn't that cute? It is a ship with 2 flowers. So this is one of my beloved treasures because they make me remember her, and she died when I was 14, and so I held onto those as one of my beloved treasures for my life. So a few years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I went to an antique fair, and I saw this doorbell, which the frame is about the size that is needed for this linen set. And I was contemplating it because the size was right, the price was very right, and one of the boards at the bottom of the bed, it contained a date, and I made my maths, and this bed was a bed that could have been one of my grandmother's toys. So the age was also right, not for me, but for my grandmother. So I grabbed it. I had to store it because we moved houses and so on. But in my mind, I just wanted to reproduce all these, setting as I had when I was a little, and add things to it. Maybe sew a mattress and make a quilt, and then a doll, of course, because I don't have a specific doll for this bed. And so I bought these fabrics that I showed them to you in the last episode in order to make a small quilt to go with my doll linen set. So yeah, this is the project, the main project. As I said, I don't have a deadline for that. I'll do it through the years. I don't care about the deadline for this. I just have to enjoy it and, make it beautiful. So yeah, this is my English paper piecing project, which is something I haven't done before, and so I will learn a little bit in the way. Yeah. So I guess this is all. I just wanted to share one more thing because I have seen so many knitting podcasters sharing what they are reading in the end of the episodes, because I guess we're very alike. We like knitting, but we also like reading. Sometimes the time to knit competes with the time to read, but yeah, audiobooks can do marvelous things about that. But I just wanted to share what I just finished reading, which is a classic, I guess. It's The Diary of a Provincial Lady by A.M. Delafield. This is the Persephone Books edition. I bought it when I was in Bath in the beginning of this year, in the spring. Yeah, I've been reading it in the book, through the book, but also on my ebook. So that's why it is still gorgeous. Otherwise, it will be a little bit scratched in the corners. But yeah, I really liked it because it deals with some women's, not problems, but situations that are very, are very contemporary too. Women's lives have not changed very much, and I like it because she's very sincere, and this began to be a journal chronicle, I guess, and then they join all the pieces into a book. And then there are more books in the series. I started to read one of them, but I didn't end up to ending all the series. But I I really like this one. I think it's very, very funny. So yeah, I recommend it. Now I'm reading The Secret Shore by Liz Fenwick. It is considered a summer read. It starts in spring. I'm going through the spring right now, the wild garlic season. And it takes place in Cornwall, London and Cornwall, right on during the Second World War. And it is a story of a woman that is a geographer and cartographer. She makes maps, and she's working for the military forces for the war in England, in the UK. It is very interesting because I'm understanding that I really like this period of the history, reading about this period of the history. So reading fiction about this period is very, very nice. I also like to read about women's lives during this period because of their role and how it changed our lives for the rest of history. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I don't have a lot to say right now because I'm in the beginnish, maybe 15-20% of the book, but I don't have a physical copy for you. But I will share the main cover because I'm reading it on my ebook. So yeah, I think that's all for this podcast. I hope you liked it. This month has been very nice. We are enjoying summer a little bit more. We go into the beach in the evenings and on the weekends. And we had a picnic with my colleagues, which is all the knitting club girls are meeting together in a park. We spend our day together. We're making it once a month, and it is very, very enjoyable. We don't have to stay all the time because life gets in the way, but we're trying to enjoy a little bit of our time together in nature. And so yeah, we're just enjoying summer. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked this second episode. I hope you can join us in the following one, which will be maybe in the end of August, beginning of September, where I will talk a little bit about my knitting plans for fall and winter. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you then. Bye!